I've spent most of my life so far in a small, sub-rural area in Pennsylvania, the town where the nearest grocery store was 30 minutes away. The population at a whooping 3,500 people. The only way of true transportation was a car. There were no sidewalks to get around and no activities close by to do. I moved to New York City for my first year of college. I was surrounded by the land of bright lights, many cultures, Uber buildings, loud noises, and bustling people. Everything around me went so quick that I thought I was still. A few months ago, I moved to the suburbs of North Carolina. I have many thoughts on suburbia, so that's what I'm going to be diving into today. Let me just say, I have never been so dissatisfied with where I live, and I've moved a ton. I came from a town that had nothing. You'd think I'd prefer to be closer to the grocery store, strip malls, and chain restaurants, but no. I'd live in my sub-rural area over suburbia any day. I know there's reasoning why people choose to live in the suburbs, like raising a family, or it's safer, but I don't want to. Suburbia is a living hell, and I'll tell you why. First, there's a lack of community. Now, I've never lived in a proper suburb since I was young, so I imagine there's a chance that you got to build a friendship with a person on the bus or a person you went to school with. But I wonder how many were fostered after you grew up. Maybe there's community in the families that live there for young children, but for a 19-year-old, to no avail. Next, you're isolated from liveliness. What is ever going on in the suburbs? Maybe that's why people choose that lifestyle, but I think of it as a much more repetitive day. There's no variety in your senses, no contrast. Bringing out the theatrics a little bit, I think asylum when I see suburbia. It's just too much of the same. I mean, how can you not go crazy? The architecture is overdone and colorless. We're looking at the same house, copy and pasted, into a neighborhood. Where's the flavor? Finally, cars. You have to get in your car and drive to work, the shop. Wherever you want to go is dependent on if you have a car or not. This is a community built on cars, not the person. There's barely feasible options for walking, biking, or public transportation, which I find as a major problem. But you do have sidewalks, I'll give you that. Suburbia is very good with sidewalks. Though I prefer sub-rural over suburbia, New York is going to be my home sooner or later. I believe it's the most logical way to live. Now, I know New York has its flaws, but every place does. And I believe every other place, in America at least, is missing what New York has, a city designed for people. In New York, I see a community rooted in wellness. Even if you're just visiting New York, you can feel this. You feel like you're attending the day. It's like operating your body versus operating a car. When you're operating your body in New York, you're moving around. There's constant movement. But when you're operating a car and you have to drive from place to place, you're operating a car. You're operating something outside of yourself. While in the suburbs, it can feel like you're gliding through, slipping away almost. In New York, on the day-to-day, you're walking past hundreds of people, riding along with a number of people in the subway or biking through the streets. This motion is what I desire. What's really important to me is a walkable city and a community that thrives to the person, not the car. So, yeah, New York, for right now, is my end game, unless America ups their urban design and fixes that, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on suburbia. I just listed why it isn't for me, but some of these may resonate with you, or maybe they don't, and you are a suburb lover. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for listening.